The fall sports season is winding down, and basketball is right around the corner. So we've got a lot of Firebird action to recap. Today on Firebird Nation Sports Update, we'll check in with the ECC cross-country champion, Hillary Mugan, and head cross-country and track and field coach, Alton McKenzie. We'll also preview the Firebirds men's and women's basketball and visit with head coaches Jeff Ruland and Jay Butler. Stay with us on Firebird Nation Sports Update. Hello, this is Firebird Nation Sports Update, your inside look at the University of District of Columbia Athletics. I'm your host, Matt Rienzo. Flap your wings and get ready to soar because the Firebird is rising in the nation's capital. The fall sports are getting towards the end of their schedules, and the action has been exciting to say the least. The men's soccer team currently sits at 5-8-2 overall and 2-5-1 in the East Coast Conference. The Firebirds claimed their first ever ECC win with a 2-1 victory at home over Dowling on September 29th. The team continues to battle and has been led by Bakary Koulibaly with 6 goals and 1 assist, and Adriel Garcia with 6 goals and 7 assists. Goaltender Omar Gonzalez has 65 saves, resulting in 3 shutouts. On October 20th, the Firebirds honored seniors Adriel Garcia, Andrew Turan, Tanzu Korkmaz, and Mario Benegas. The senior day was highlighted by a scoring bonanza that led to an 8-7 Firebird win over Malloy College. That is honestly the highest scoring soccer game I've ever heard of. In women's volleyball action, the Firebirds have a 10-12 record and are 4-7 in the conference. One of the highlights of the season came at home as the Firebirds completed a come-from-behind 3-2 win against defending ECC champion Dowling on September 27th. Vanessa Garley leads the squad with 195 kills, while Kamini Rose has recorded 616 assists. The women's volleyball team hosted the second annual Volleyball Youth Day on Sunday, October 21st. Over 30 youth volleyball players from the DC area attended the event. The Youth Day included a free youth clinic run by Firebird head coach Sheila Weaver and the team. The clinic was followed by photo opportunities and an autograph session with the Firebirds, and then free admission to the match versus Virginia Union. The day was a tremendous success and was capped off by a 3-1 Firebird win over the Panthers. The men's cross-country team has had a terrific fall, finishing first at the Delaware State Hornets Invitational on October 6th and finishing third at the Delaware State Invitational on September 7th. Senior Hillary Mugan, who we'll visit with later, had a banner year, being named ECC Men's Cross Country Runner of the Year and finishing first at the ECC Championships on October 21st at Long Island Post University. His 8-kilometer time of 26 minutes and 1 second resulted in the first individual ECC title for any Firebird runner ever. Mugan also finished first overall at the Delaware State Hornets Invitational on October 6th. Look for Mugan to make some noise in the upcoming NCAAs for sure. The women's cross-country team continued to put bricks in place, with each runner improving on their personal best times in competition. The Firebirds wrapped up their 2012 campaign with a strong showing at the ECC Championships on October 21st, with freshman Simone Grant leading the way. The women's tennis team finished out their fall schedule with an 8-3 record overall and a 5-2 record in the ECC. The Firebirds remained perfect at home this season and extended their home winning streak to 13 matches. Jessica Nunez was named first-team All-ECC, while Kristina Napividova and Maxime Daust earned second-team All-ECC recognition. The women's tennis team is hopeful to gain an NCAA bid in the spring. Men's tennis cruised to wins in each of their first 3 matches this fall. The doubles team of Miguel Uzcategui and Carlos Quiroga were able to advance and win the men's bead double championship at the ITA East Regional Championships in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Keep in mind that the men's ECC schedule and championship season is in the spring, so stay tuned for big things from the Firebirds in men's tennis. Well, with the leaves turning and winter just around the corner, it can only mean one thing. That's right, basketball season. Both the men's and women's basketball teams at the University of the District of Columbia had huge years in 2011-2012. with both teams advancing to the NCAA tournament. So the Firebird faithful have a high expectation on the hardwood this year. In men's basketball, the Firebirds have big shoes to fill with the departure of Nigel Munson, Brandon Herbert, and Deshaun Bradshaw. Not only do they lose their top scorers and assist leaders, but also significant leadership. The Firebirds appear to have reloaded, though, with the addition of 3 Division I transfers, 1 Division II transfer, and 1 junior college All-American. They also returned ECC Defensive Player of the Year Dyreek Jones and key returners Ziad Ashmawi, Florent Pontens, and Keith Brooks. The Firebird men finished last season with a 22-7 record, and the 2012-2013 slate looks to be one of the toughest in the country. The Firebirds face Division I opponents Villanova, Hofstra, Marshall, and South Dakota State, as well as 2 opponents who made the Division II NCAA tournament last year. The schedule is also highlighted by a crosstown rivalry game against Bowie State at home on December 12th. The women's basketball team has their sights set high as they were picked to finish second in the ECC. The Firebirds are coming off a 21-7 season, and they will rely heavily on returning scoring threat Janelle Jr. and All-ECC rookie team selection Danica Brent, as well as a strong group of newcomers. The Firebird women host 2 tournaments in the sports complex this season, the Firebird Classic on November 17th and 18th, and the DC Winter Classic on December 29th and 30th. Season ticket packages for both the men's and women's basketball teams are now available by visiting udcfirebirds.com/information/tickets. Season ticket packages are $95 for 26 total games. Don't miss a single minute of this year's exciting Firebird action. We're going to take a short break. When we return, we'll visit with Firebird cross-country student athlete and ECC champion Hillary Mugan and his coach, Alton McKenzie. I'm now pleased to be joined in the studio by men's cross-country ECC champion Hillary Mugan and head cross-country and track and field coach Alton McKenzie. Hillary, Coach McKenzie, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Hillary, let's start with you. You've had a terrific cross-country season, most recently winning the ECC championships up at LIU Post. You were named Runner of the Year in the conference.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Yeah, it feels good. This reminds me that when we started the season, we started with the coach, and he told me that our objective is to win ECC. And yes, we have been doing that all the time. When we are in practice, it tells me, be consistent, do this, and I always do what he says.
And he's a great coach.
He's a great coach, that's why. And it's good when you're having the same objective with the person you're working with, because you always stays at the same crowd.
Sure, and last year you came in second, is that correct?
Yes, I came in second.
And then this year first, so you see that progression and all that hard work pay off. That's great. What were your emotions after you won the race? What were you thinking?
I was really happy about it because I have accomplished the first thing that we talked with my coach.
That's great. And,
yes.
and I'm sure you know this, but you're the first Firebird runner to win an ECC title ever, because we recently just joined the conference. Are you proud of that? How cool is that?
I'm really excited to see the next person who is coming to beat my record.
Oh, wow, that's great. Now tell us about the actual race in the ECC championships. Take us through the race. What happened?
When we started the race, and before the day, we were talking with my coach, and he told me that you have to do what we have been talking about, because every time when we start the race, I always go out faster. So you have been telling me to pack up for
slow down a little bit at the beginning.
Slow down, yeah. And actually that day, it's actually everything happened, because I didn't go out fast, and I stayed steadily. And the second mile, I just moved out. Nobody followed me, and I felt good because I was running alone.
That's great.
Yes.
So your coach knew what he was talking about, it sounds
Yes.
like. Now, Coach McKenzie, let's shift it over to you. You tell us about the race from your perspective. What was it?
All right, it was Hillary ran the perfect race. We've been talking for a year about him learning to not be as aggressive. He's naturally aggressive. He's a great runner, but I felt like his first mile would always be a little bit too quick for my liking. So I told him, let somebody else be a rabbit, and you just let them do the work. and then when you're ready to change gears, they're not going to be able to respond. And it's good. He's the one doing the work, but it's good to see that what we've talked about, that it materialized in the way it did.
So at what mile marker did he start to, or kilometer did he start to take over?
About 2K, between 2 and 3K, pretty much the race changed. He was maybe 10 seconds behind within the first mile, and I said, you're fine. You know, cross country, you don't get to see them the entire time, but strategically I saw him where I needed to see him. And about 3K, so a little bit over 2 miles, I said to him, you know, I've told him, I said, when you go at that time. And when he did, they weren't
took off.
Yeah, they weren't going to go with him. Yeah, they were going to go with him.
That's great. Now, it's an 8K race. What is that in miles?
It's 5.1.
Okay.
Yeah, 5.1.
Yeah.
And your time was 26:01. What does that equate to, like, on a per mile?
My pace is about 5:12 pace.
Okay.
So he's ready to run 5:05, 5:06 pace. So that's where we're going to shoot for at the regional meet.
Great. And just before we talk about regionals and NCAAs, what does this win mean, and him being named ECC Runner of the Year? What does that mean for you and for the program? I can't put into words how happy I am that this goal that we had talked about from last year actually came to fruition, because I knew that he had the ability to do it, but it's a lot easier to say than to actually have it materialize. So he'll always be the first, and that's something that no one will be able to take from him. And I'm proud to say that in my short time here that I've had the ability to have an individual winner in the ECC championship so quickly in our tenure. So he's a great runner, but you know, it's easier to say. You have to still produce and actually go out and execute your race. And for him to do it, it was the easiest race he ran all year. That's great. That's phenomenal. Now, what's next? You mentioned regionals. I know there's probably NCAAs in the future. Tell me about that landscape, how that works.
Yeah, so now we enjoy the day, Sunday, Monday, long run, and then we were back to work yesterday because we have the regional meet November 4th.
And where is that?
That's going to be in New Hampshire.
Okay.
So we compete on Sunday the 4th, and based on placings at the regional meet, then that determines who goes to nationals.
Okay, great. It could be a little chilly up in New Hampshire.
Yeah,
in November.
We're preparing for anything, snow, you name it. So Hillary's running snow before, so he knows what that's like.
That's great. Now, switch back to you, Hillary. What's it been like having Coach McKenzie as a coach? I want to put you on the spot, but.
Yeah, that's been a really good season altogether from last year to this year. Altogether, in my 4-year season in eligibility, I've had 4 coaches. I had Coach Sins, and then Coach Rogers, and then we had a temporary coach when we were going for regionals 2010.
Right.
And then he came in. And it's a different coach. Everybody comes with a different strategy.
It's good to have that stability.
Yes. It's always, it's different when you're testing to somebody, but it was easy for me because whenever he talks, I know he knows what he's telling me.
Sure, you seem to have good chemistry, and I know from talking to Coach McKenzie, you're a good listener and learner, so that helps too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now let's switch a little bit to the academic side. What are you studying here at the University of District of Columbia?
I'm studying accounting.
How do you manage your time studying and running and practice and all those things and travel? Is it tough?
It's the same thing with it's like we are shifting from practice to classwork. You're managing time. When you're running like an 8K, you have to manage you balance your times.
Wow, that's a great analogy.
Yeah, so it's the same thing when you're in class, that you have to balance everything.
Now, how did you're from Nandi Hills, Kenya.
Yes.
How did you end up at the University of District of Columbia?
Yeah, I came here in 2009, and I went to Indiana, University of Pennsylvania, and my cousin used to study at UDC.
So that's the tie-in to UDC.
Yes. So
thankfully.
Yeah, that's great, and the rest is history. So, well, that's about all the time that we have, Coach McKenzie and Hillary. Congratulations on an awesome fall season, and hopefully regionals and NCAAs as well, much more continued success. So I know everyone in the athletic department in the University of District of Columbia community is proud of your accomplishments, so congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Matt.
When we come back, we'll visit with head women's basketball coach, Jay Butler. Welcome back. We're now joined by University of the District of Columbia head women's basketball coach, Jay Butler. Jay, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
Well, I guess it's that time of year again. Basketball season's right around the corner. What can people look for from the Firebirds this season?
This year we got a new team. Last year we lost seven seniors, so we had to replace them. Got a good group of young kids, and this year we're going to our senior. We got 2 senior captains, Ty Bella and Jadell Jr. We're going to look for them to give us that leadership because we got a young team, but we're still going to be excited, and we're going to compete in the ECC and try to win that conference championship.
I know your hopes are high, and we'll talk about why in a couple minutes, but last year you were 21-7. You made it to the NCAA tournament. Can you possibly match that mark or maybe even exceed it?
We're going to try our best. I just think the young group, they're exciting to watch in the preseason. They're working hard. We had a scrimmage this weekend. They played well. So I just think if the chemistry is there, we come along early in the season. We got a tough non-conference schedule. So it's going to be tough. But
and a tough conference schedule as well. So.
Exactly. You got the team Dowling, they're the team to beat this year. You got Post and New York Tech. So it's going to be tough, but I just think the young ladies, they're up to the challenge.
Good. Well, now you've been ranked, you mentioned some ECC schools. You've been ranked 2nd in the conference preseason. Does that put extra pressure on you? Is that exciting, or do you just not even care and don't pay any attention to that?
I try not to put a lot of into it. You know, it was the Division II bulletin that ranked us Division II. I think next week our peers, the coaches, picks for the conference.
Okay.
And then we can kind of put a little more into it then. And I told the young ladies, you know, take it, you know, build from it, but we got to keep working. At the end of the day, we got to play the schedule out and ultimately get ready for the conference play and then the conference tournament.
Right. Well, and you mentioned your 2 captains, Ty Abila and Janelle Jr. You've also got returning Rookie of the Year, Danica Brent. But my guess is it's not going to be a one-woman show or just 2 players. It's going to be a team effort. Tell us about how you're going to go about that and who else may contribute.
It's definitely going to be balanced this year. We got 13 young ladies on the team. And I want to say from 1 to 10, 11, I mean, it's straight across the board. And every day
Good competition, huh?
Exactly. Well, we got a couple freshmen, Tatiana Calhoun and Tajruba Baldwin Kalor. They're going to be pretty special. 2 freshmen that I think that they got a chance to be possibly all rookie, if not Rookie of the Year. And they're going to get thrown into the fire early. So I'm just looking for big things out of them. Like you said, with Danica Brent, coming back from an all-rookie season last year, I think she's going to be one of our leaders on the leaders scoring the ball. And we got a few juniors, Jaleesa Anderson and Monet Niaz, that's going to step in and provide us with some just stability with the good defense, offense, just keeping the wheels turning, and just some good role players.
Seems like there's a nice mix of returning players and key newcomers that'll really give you that depth and that balance.
Yeah, and I just think right now they're just trying to figure it out, trying to get the chemistry down. But the one thing, they're competing hard every day in practice, and they're really looking forward to this season.
And that's one of the things I noticed from last year is that your teams play hard. You press a lot. You like to play an up-tempo style. Can we expect that same type of style of play this year?
Same style. Same style. We've been conditioning, we've been lifting, and we're going to press. We're going to press for 40 minutes, and we're going to try to get up and down.
That's great. That's a fun style of basketball. And how many players will that force you to play throughout the course of the game?
We're actually looking at all 13.
Wow.
All 13. And I tell them, come in as a freshman. If you can play, we're going to put you out there.
That's great.
Put you out there. You work hard. You're going to have the opportunity to play.
Now, you mentioned a few of the East Coast Conference schools earlier. Who are some of the kind of the games that you circle on the schedule?
You always circle Dowling. They're the ECC conference champion. They return 4 out of the 5 starters. They got a big-time transfer that's coming in, so they're going to be the #1 team. But we also have a couple of non-conference games, Nova Southeastern out of Florida, Florida Southern. Those are going to be some tough non-conference games that will actually give us that strength of schedule, and ultimately, if you want to possibly rank top 25 in the country, you want to beat those teams.
And that's a good segue into my next question, which is you're hosting 2 tournaments this year, one on November 17th and 18th, that's the Firebird Classic, and then on December 29th and 30th, which is the DC Winter Classic. Tell us about those tournaments. I think a couple or one of those teams you mentioned are coming to that tournament. Tell us about those tournaments.
Those tournaments give us an opportunity to pick up 2 home games and then bring in some top competition from around the country. Ultimately, a lot of teams want to come in and visit the DC area, and then ultimately they want to play against top teams. And last year, over the previous 4 or 5 years, we've been ranked in the country, so they want to come in and play a top team, and it's going to be a good competition. We got Bowie State that's coming in also, crosstown rival team that's going to come in and also play a few of the teams. But Grand Valley State out of Michigan, Florida Southern, they're strong teams over the years.
Sure, and so those tournaments, both of them will be games at 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock on Saturday, and then another doubleheader on Sunday, 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock. So people can certainly get tickets to those events through our season ticket packages or just walk up and buy tickets for those games as well. So hopefully we'll have a nice crowd for both of those tournaments.
Definitely. You can basically 1 and 3 o'clock, you can get 2 very good games. Teams that you're going to see later on in the season and postseason play competing for NCAA bid.
Great. Well, Coach, that's all the time we have. Thanks very much for joining us. We're obviously going to see you a lot over the next few months. We'll have you on as much as we possibly can. Wish you the best of luck.
All right. Thanks, Matt.
When we come back, we'll visit with head men's basketball coach Jeff Ruland. We're now joined by Firebird head men's basketball coach Jeff Ruland. Coach, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, it's basketball season. It seemed like just yesterday we were wrapping up last season. Where did the time go?
Went to the summertime to recruiting and spending some quality time with my family.
So summer was good?
Summer was good. Never long enough, but it was nice.
I understand. Now, we all know that you lost some serious firepower from last year's team, Nigel Munson, Brandon Herbert, Deshaun Bradshaw. How do you plan on replacing those guys?
It's almost 60 points, and I think we've done it by committee. We've got 5 new players, and I think when everything's said and done, they're all going to make a great contribute to the season. Quasim Jones will probably play the point for us this year. Mm-hmm. Ralph Watts is a transfer from Albany, Division I transfer. He'll play the 2 and the 3. He's 6'6". Austin Cooley is a 6'6" transfer from Niagara. He'll play a lot. Mike Terry is a 6'1" guard transfer from BU. And then the last but not least is our 4-man is D'Angelo, last name escapes me.
It's okay, Coach.
D'Angelo
Johnson,
who transferred from, I believe, Virginia Union or Virginia State, one of those Virginia schools. And he's a really good player. We played him 3 years ago, and he gave us 28 and 16.
Wow.
So yeah, so with those guys and Dyreek coming back and Zod and Keith for their senior year, you know, it's we could be good.
So you mentioned 5 newcomers, and then Z and Keith.
Keith and Dyreek, who are seniors who've been here for 4 years, who started the rebuilding process with us. Yeah.
And then Flo
is going to be a sophomore, and Enos is also a senior.
So that's 10 players right there. It sounds like you've got a lot of depth. You hope so, anyway.
Well, yeah, you know more so when the games start, and whether you hesitate or not to put a guy in. But right now, they're all doing well, and pretty much I feel confident putting any one of them into a game. So we've got some options.
Now, with that kind of depth, hopefully you have 8, 9, or 10 players that you're comfortable with. Does that allow you to play a different style of play, or you're still going to play how you want to play regardless?
Well, we want to, get where we're going with defense. That's first and foremost. But with this many players, we could obviously go up tempo and press a lot more than we have in the past, and that's something that we're working on. And offensively, we want to get up and down, and the more guys you have, obviously, the faster you can go. But yeah, that's the game plan. But you never know with injuries and certain games. Certain teams have a style that slow it down. But yeah, we want to go up tempo and get a fast pace to the game.
I know last year, sitting in on practices and listening to you at games, you preach defense all the time. That's your #1 focal point, it seems like, to an outsider. Then you add the full court press to that. That really could create a lot of transition for you.
Well, that's the key, and we're long and athletic. We could start Ralph and Austin at the 2 and the 3, and they're both 6'6" legit. That's not usually the case at the Division II level. So we have that option. But yeah, defense. I mean, we want to go out and see. We're top 20 in scoring last year, and that's what we want to do every year because it's fun to run out, and it's a fun style to play and a fun style to watch. But there's some nights, no matter what you do, the ball won't go in the basket. So if you're good defensively all the time, then you give yourself a chance to win those games.
I imagine too, if you're putting up a lot of points, that makes recruiting a little easier. Recruits think that's a fun style to play, and they want to put the ball in the hoop.
I won't get into how many surgeries I've got, but I still like to shoot the occasional 3. So yeah, it's a fun style.
Well, let's talk about your schedule. You've got to have the toughest schedule in Division II, in my opinion. 4 Division I teams, opening up with Villanova.
Yeah.
And 2 teams that made the NCAA tournament last year in Division II. Tell us a little bit about your schedule.
I'm out of my mind. It's a great challenge. It's great to be involved in that tournament. I'd be lying to tell you if it was 100% our idea. We just, believe it or not, even losing 60 points, we couldn't get any games.
Right.
We couldn't get any games, and we basically had to go to Division I route.
So you have your league schedule, which obviously you have a set schedule in the conference, and then out of league, it's just tough to find games people don't want to play.
Nobody wants to come here. No one wanted to play us on the road, and we lost 60 points. And we got some good players coming in, but nobody knew that.
Right, right.
So I guess that goes hand in hand with turning it around, and we're good.
They just know that you're doing some good things. And
yeah, doing some good things, and it's a great exposure for us. And you want to win. Obviously we're going to try to win those games, but it's no easy task. All those teams are very good. Villanova's good. Marshall's really good.
South Dakota
Hofstra's
State.
good. South Dakota's really yeah. So we got our work cut out for us. The good thing that doesn't count toward the league, but hopefully at the end of the season we can get an automatic bid. But if that doesn't happen, people will look at that and say, hey, they went out and had a tough schedule, and this is how they did.
And you're also
that's what happened last year.
Right, and you're also playing crosstown rival Bowie State again, which I know a lot of the fans.
Yeah, it was amazing. We were really good last year, and it was just by chance they couldn't make the game. So yeah, we have them back this year. So hopefully we'll give them what they deserve.
I'm sure that'll be a good one for everybody.
It should be fun.
Now all these D1 games will certainly help you get ready for the ECC conference schedule, I'd imagine.
That's the idea.
Yeah,
without a doubt. If we can go play at Villanova, then we shouldn't be in awe if we go at CW Post or at Dowling.
Right, get you prepared. And a lot of those D1 games, or all of them, are part of the 2K Sports Classic.
That's correct.
How did you get involved in that tournament, and what's that tournament all about?
Well, a lot of it has to do with coaches versus cancer, and I lost my mom to cancer, my father-in-law. I lost my ex-wife to leukemia, which is a blood cancer. So, it's something that unfortunately touches everybody in the world today. And, they've been, the Gazelle Group have been putting this on for a number of years. We were in it last year. And the opportunity arose, especially with the lack of being able to schedule games. So it was great that they embraced us, and the Division I teams didn't have a problem with playing us. So, like I said, it's great exposure. The school's getting some money out of it too, so that's a good thing. But it's a great experience for our guys, and like I said, if we can do well in those 4 games, then we shouldn't have a problem with the rest of our schedule going to Lowell, Mass, and having Bowie come here.
Well, that's great. Best of luck to you. That'll certainly be a great experience for the student athletes.
I'll let you know after, after that last one is played.
Yeah, well, we'll look forward to visiting with you in a month and seeing how it all goes. So thanks very much for being on the show.
Thanks
we really
for having
appreciate
me.
it.
Appreciate it.
That's all the time we have today. I'd like to thank our guests, ECC cross-country champion Hillary Mugan, Firebird head cross-country and track and field coach Alton McKenzie, and head basketball coaches Jeff Ruland and Jay Butler. Please don't forget to follow Firebird Athletics on the web at udcfirebirds.com, on Twitter at UDC Firebird Fans, on Facebook at UDC Athletics, and on YouTube at UDC Athletics 1. Thanks for watching the Firebird Nation Sports Update. I'm your host, Matt Rienzo. The Firebird is rising in the nation's capital, and we're glad you're along for the ride.